What was it like having him on set? Snoop Dogg.
Oh. Amazing.
He was a presence, right? He just come in and just calm and really...
First of all, I knew he was there because I had bottles of wine on my trailer when he was there. Yeah. So I was like, can Snoop come every day?
Welcome back to Academy Panels. My name is Sean Finney. I'm super excited today to talk to the women behind and in front of the camera of Day Shift.
Directed by J.J. Perry. Okay, y'all, Day Shift follows a hardworking father who provides for his 8-year-old daughter by using a pool cleaning job as a front for his real gig, hunting and killing vampires. This film stars Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, Snoop Dogg, and Karla Souza.
Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, so we've seen these vampire movies, you know what I'm saying? But we are seeing still that moviegoers love this aspect and this culture of it. Andrea, I want to start with you. What do you think it is about vampire movies that moviegoers still are fascinated by after all this time?
They like the fangs. Once those come out, it's going to be some, action after that. All the stunt and flips and all that, that's what we want to see. We want to see that. That keeps the action going.
I love that. Speaking of action and stunts and flips, Lee, this is a great point for you. Like, what do you think it is?
I mean, I think there's a thing with the supernatural and with the mythos that follows vampires that is still kind of interesting. They all have like a background behind it, but the fact that they're supernatural, super strong.
And I think we've changed the rules with this one.
Yeah.
I mean, this happens mostly in the daytime, which is uncalled for.
Yes. And
it's a business, as you're going to see, fangs equal money. And so it's escapism. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more with Lee here. I think there's like actually the deep, I'm, not to get into theology of it all, but, blood and the representation of like what that is and to take the life, I think there's really the root of it is actually, you're right, there's so many vampire movies. How come a studio doesn't go, no, like there's already enough vampire movies, and it's because the moviegoers, are very drawn to, I think, that sort of more mythical, we don't get so much Greek mythology, but we do get the zombies and the vampires, and I think that that's why, people sort of gravitate towards that because it's, the root of it is a little bit more mysterious.
I literally was the first one to read the script, and I was just like, I could just see it play in my mind. And when that happens, it's just like, I know that there's magic here. And, I worked with my husband, the producing partner on this. And we were like, we developed it with the writer and we just kept building on the mythology and the lore like that they were talking about. And then JJ just added that much more. And then Chad Stahelski came on, just the whole team. It was, I think we built something that no one's ever seen before.
What's so dope, I would say, about it is that there's so many like comedic beats, but also it's still vampire, so you still have to add that horror beat in there too. So talk to me about just what it was balancing the both of those.
When we read the script, we were immediately drawn to it. And we developed it with the writer, and we kept the heart of it. So it was always very grounded, which I think is important because that's the backbone. When the characters, the motivations, they feel relatable, you're like, oh, I get them, or I've been there before, and it just feels real. But then when we heightened it with the world, the union, the vampires, we raise the stakes, then that comedy really just pops from them being in real danger. And there are so many organic moments. Like, what was fun too is we'd have the actors, do the script, and then we just really have them improvise too, and just have fun and see what came out. And there was some magic in those moments too. And so just like that feeling that adrenaline combined with that laughter, it's just like this visceral experience, and that's Day Shift.
What films helped you kind of center and ground yourself as an actor, as you mentioned, to get prepared, for this role?
Yeah, it was funny because, there's, the plethora of vampire movies is, it's there, it's entertaining, and it was great. Everything from The Lost Boys or even Only Lovers Left Alive. Is that the title with Tilda Swinton? Like, I went down, every single path. There's art house films that are, that are really powerful, but had nothing to do with, I guess, the movie that we were making. But I obviously saw, I did my homework. I saw them. The Twilights, because they mention it in the film, and I hadn't seen any of that, and it was like, oh my gosh. And then I kind of had to throw it away because it wasn't giving me an in because it is such a,
like new age.
It's a new age kind of thing. And so I was like, how do I ground it for myself? And so I'm a mother and, you better bet. And watching these animals, I said it earlier, before we presented the film, JJ showed me animals eating their prey. And I was like getting so fired up because also protecting their prey. So as a mother, like that was my way in. And also seeing this character is a businesswoman, right? She's trying to get her people in the best place, in the best land. And it was land that was taken from her. So I could connect a lot to that, being Mexican in California, not knowing the storylines, but that really gave me a lot of power to do that. So for me, it was like I saw all of the vampire kind of films, but it was more the humanity of her and her, her need to claim space. That is what I connected to as a woman. But when it comes down to it, is like, what's your motivation? Your daughter's killed and you're trying to get revenge. And so like the way that you got into that for me was more that versus like, as a vampire, I can't wear silver and I can't breathe and I can't wink and I don't know what to do with that, So it was more, unlocking it and sort of using that as like, my homework, but not really the way that I connected to the heart of Audrey. So that for me, the lisp was so hard. So it was like I was talking like this. Yeah, I was like this, and I was like, you're going to suffer. I was so bad. I was like, how are we? And Jamie would be like, I was like, Jamie, don't do that. Like, it was so hard with the fangs. Yeah. So, and also, I drew blood because they were very pointy and you can't close. So I drew blood a couple of times on my lips because of it. And then I heard that, okay, this is, I don't know what we called it, Vamp 1, Vamp 2, Vamp 3 or whatever. The angrier she got, she had a different look, right? Whether it was the fangs and the teeth and the eyes, having those contact lenses is, I am in awe of any of all of the other actors have done vampires and have, series that do them for a long time. I don't know how they do it. It's like you can't see in your periphery. It's very...
Wow.
It's very limiting. It's like tunnel vision. You can't really see. So it's hard to, the eyes are the windows to the soul. So it is actually really hard to emit with all of that stuff. But the fangs they were getting longer as I was getting angrier. Anyway, it was a whole thing.
We've seen some greats, specifically Miss Salma Hayek and From Dusk Till Dawn, really kind of playing this. And not that you're building off of her own legacy because you're creating your own, but tell me about like the impact of being able to see that representation as well and kind of like what this means to you.
I mean, it's huge for, growing up in Mexico and seeing Salma, and not only, knowing then Lupe Velez in the 40s and, how Salma is on her shoulders and then I'm on the shoulders of Salma. And it's literally, the generations continue, but like you said, it's a legacy. And I love that, not only as an actress, but, the storyline I loved about the script was that, I get to be the bad guy, but now even I'm not sexualized or objectified, in ways that Latina women or women of color tend to be in certain, genres or, when I was growing up, that's all I would see. And so to see that we are moving forward, there's still a lot more work to do, but to see, the way that Salma broke through so many barriers.
And still doing so.
And still doing so. And so I'm forever grateful because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for, the Salmas and the Lupe Velez and all of the, Rita Moreno and all of the women that came before us. And the fact that they talk about it and they're not afraid to talk about all of those challenges and all of the moments where they felt tokenized or, like they had to play the stereotype. Rita Moreno talks about that too. And sometimes when that's the only job you have, you'll do damn well at it, and you'll play that stereotype because it's gonna feed your family.
He knows so much about movies and all past and action that he's like, I want to see something new. I want to see something dope, And so he was like, we should get contortionists in it. We should use it. But he put in so much effort because he was very aware of with their abilities, what they need, what like the time they need, and we would go to like Vegas.
And you went to a conference, right?
Yeah,
where they had like the top contortionists.
Yes.
And that's how we found.
You know, JJ was like, we're gonna put some of your flavor, some of your breaking flavor in this and that, and it was just like I felt spoiled.
Dances. That's why her breaking flavor. I'm just translating for everyone.
Oh no, sorry, I should have mentioned. But yeah, it's like because my background's breakdancing, so. He mentioned like, yo, when we get in there, like add your flavor in it. We want to show that these vampires can do what people are used to vampires a certain way. So when we show that these guys come from different backgrounds and they can do all different kinds of things, and this guy has to figure out how am I going to fight all these different types in one area, you know, I definitely felt spoiled because it was kind of like, go be free. Do what you want to do.
And I think another thing was that we got to see you guys practice and really set these scenes up months before.
Oh yeah.
And just in these these warehouses with all these cardboard boxes and seeing them do these fight scenes. It was, us as producers, we were like, oh my gosh, this is looking so amazing. And what else are they going to show us? And every time it was just like amped up.
And what's good as an actor is that you're coming in and you're seeing like, oh, I get to rehearse and picture and visualize the scene, you know, because sometimes it's just all about the action or all about, and the way that it happened because we were all, you know, in Atlanta together, it was like we had the chance to go to rehearse. And so it really, for me, like I grew up an athlete and I felt like such nostalgia because they train like as a, you know, like almost like a team of, you know, a sport.
Yeah.
And so it really, you know, it really got us, because we didn't have, you know, rehearsal per se because there was, you know, during COVID and all of that stuff. So that is what really brought us, I think, all of us together is the stunts.
And I would say on top of that, the one thing that I really like and appreciate about JJ and those guys is they want the actors to do as much as they can. And you guys will like actively like, yeah, let's do it, let's get it.
Oh, yeah.
We'll
Everyone
go in.
trained. Snoop, James,
And it looks so good. Oh, sorry.
No, it was amazing.
But I was gonna say it looks so good when you see you guys move and it's you and it's not like some hidden double that it's like obviously not them. But when you see you guys actually performing it and doing it and you just that, like it's pretty satisfying to watch.
So I'm curious for you, like when you're approaching it from the hair and makeup space, like how different is it when you're thinking about that for vampires that are walking in the day, right? Because we typically see them low light and kind of creepy. So I'm curious from your perspective as well.
Creating the look and, you know, putting the pieces together when, you know, it played a big part in, again with JJ, because he knew exactly what he wanted. So once he transferred the language to me, I took that and I said, okay, this would be good for this. Because one person was like 6 people.
She means with the 6 people is that there's 6 stunts per actor, more or less.
Exactly.
Wow.
So I think people don't, she meant that like 6 different people are going to be playing one
person.
So for hair and makeup, that was,
Yes.
You know, we had the stunt person, the actor, the contortionist.
Yes.
And then at what phase?
Yes.
So it all varied, you know, as they're transforming and becoming full-fledged vampires.
Thank you.
Andrea, talk to me a little bit more about this, creating the 6 different characters for one. Talk about that process and who are those characters that you're creating?
Karla, the old woman, that was fun because she, you know, her head rolled off, so we had to do the head by itself, her, the contortionist, and then the stunt person. It was like, you know, it was 6 people in one. And so transferring that and making them all look the exact same, you know, that was, you know, challenging. And to change the actors, Franco, changing him into his different looks, even his head, you know, and just, you know, creating the same cut, the same looks.
So for clarity, it's you for each individual actor. You're also creating the same model for the contortionist, for the stunts person, and then the individual head if their head got cut off.
Yes.
So you're every hair, every strand, every makeup, everything has to be so specific.
The exact same.
Wow.
And of course, we shot the next day, but we shot in order, which was very helpful.
And
I think.
that helped me because
For continuity,
for
right?
continuity, and we didn't flip-flop back and forth, which was good.
The Jamie Foxx.
Oh,
we
yeah.
can't even, I mean,
Yeah.
has been such a pioneer in this industry for such a long time and continues to dominate and probably dominating even more.
Yes.
Now, I'm just curious, like, does anyone have any favorite Jamie Foxx experiences or stories? I heard set was pretty fun.
Yo, it
Oh,
was
yes.
it was kind of bad sometimes though, because we'd be laying on the ground, like we're supposed to be dead, and he's like cracking jokes, and you're like,
Wait, oh, so when you're actually dead, he's like saying jokes in between.
yeah, like there'd be times like, or it'd be
always on.
mad-libbed, and you're like trying to sit there, and you're like, you might be facing the camera, you're like, oh my God, I can't be on the camera.
He
It's
tells
not-
stories too.
He tells stories?
He gives you stories.
Yes.
Yeah, like,
They're amazing. I mean, I think every time he's on all the time, so I don't
Yeah.
know how he does it, but he's like this
neither.
fountain of youth and energy.
Yeah.
And I think, like we were saying, like
I don't know how he
right?
does it.
He'd
Yeah,
come in like,
yeah.
and every morning it's like Snoop would be coming in from one side with his music, and he'd be like popping with his music
Yeah.
and boombox.
Talk to me about the music, because I heard there was a song created.
I mean, a few.
There's a few
I'm not
songs.
joking.
Oh,
a
yeah.
few songs. When I walked in, there had already been a song, and he said, "Don't worry, Karla." You know, and I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. So I said a line in the film. It was like, "This is my valley, cabron. Drink him." And I left, and he's like, "Say it into my phone." I was like, "This is my valley, cabron. Drink him." And he's like, he goes to the side, and he's like, "This is my valley, cabron. Drink him." And he starts going off, and then sends it to his friend. And I tell him like, "Oh, can you put some like salsa stuff?" Like I started like noticing that he was doing.
You're co-producing.
I was co-producing because I was like, "Oh, they already have like that one." And I was like, "Let's make it, you know, let's
Yeah.
give it our touch." And so he was like, "Oh yeah," and the dun, 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 and we were doing, you know, literally Rio de Janeiro in like in a second. He came back the next day with the song like fully. I was just shocked at the
Oh, yeah,
the
he
amount
has
of
a composer and
creativity coming
everything.
out of him constantly
And instantly.
and
Yeah, right.
It's
instantly
just like right
is
there.
just
And so he came back to set. He
with the song fully produced on his backpack, had a stereo, would play it full blast. So I was scared the first day. I was like, I wonder how my first day will be. And you know, here I am like salsa dancing to like my own song with my lyric that he just created the next day.
You
I
now
mean,
have a new single that you can
I now
release.
have a new single that I
featuring
will
Jamie
release.
Foxx.
Yeah.
And how quickly all of that happened.
Yeah.
And having Snoop Dogg play. Right. It seems just like such a role, you know,
And
for
he was so zen.
Yeah,
too,
and that
right?
goes to my question. Like, what was it like having him on set? Snoop Dogg.
Amazing.
He
was a presence,
great.
right? He just come in and just calm and
yeah.
really.
First of all, I knew he was
Chill.
there because I had bottles of wine on my trailer when he was
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So I was like, can Snoop come every day? I had, you know, he has his bottles of wine and he has all his like
yeah.
merch. And he would
Yeah.
just gift us all his
jackets.
merch and his record label t-shirts.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, I love Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, he would come with presents.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
presents for everyone.
Yes, I got
He
his
come with
gin
presents.
and wine. It was awesome.
Yeah, his gin,
What
that's
was
true.
everybody's favorite present?
From Snoop.
Yeah,
I
from
don't think
Snoop.
I
I mean,
say.
the jacket was pretty crazy.
You guys got a jacket.
Jamie Foxx does so great at passing the baton. Like, you know, I could see JJ that was asking, like, what should the last line of, you know, this moment be? And he literally, like, Jamie and him said, ask Karla, whatever Karla says. I'm like, what? Like, this huge budget Netflix film is giving Karla Souza Olivares Souza Regojas Legorreta López Guerrero. No, I'm kidding. Like, she's giving me the ability to have a say in the last line of this, you know, of this character. And it was just so empowering, which is, you know, the character I was doing. Like, so they really allowed me to feel that strength in the training, in the way that I was dressed in the movie. Yeah, felt like I was being given permission to take up that space, figuratively and, you know, emotionally and physically. And so we were doing an escapist, like popcorn, you know, fun movie, but it has so much more, I think, power in all these stories that you're hearing, that, you know, the ways that we work and how we're feeling like we're given that permission and we're taking up the space as women. And so to go to a movie that is action that used to be a lot of just a man's world. And now you're talking to, you know, 4 women that felt empowered in this process. And that's pretty awesome, I think, from, you know, Netflix down to, you know, Jamie Foxx and JJ and everyone that was on the movie. I think they really wanted us to be able to have our voice during the process of it.